In the most important pressure-packed moments on a tennis court, the greatest tennis players of all time rarely make this mistake. They rarely look rushed. I was lucky. I had the chance to play on the professional tennis tour for over a decade, and I shared the court with many tennis greats. And one of the tennis legends that I learned from in real time was a gentleman by the name of Roger Federer. Let me set the stage. 2004, Roger Federer had just won his second Wimbledon. About 3 weeks after Wimbledon, the tour is moving to North America, and we are in Toronto at the Canadian Open. I had lost in the qualifying rounds, and I was hanging out there for a couple of days before moving on to the next tournament. And I walked into the locker room one day, and it was quiet. It was at the end of the day, and there was Roger Federer sitting on a bench in the locker room alone. No team around him. Who would have thought? Most of these top players, everyone and their mother is with them at all times. But he's alone in the locker room, and I walk up to him and I introduce myself. Roger, my name's Jeff Salzenstein. He nods his head and he goes, I know who you are. I think he was just being nice. I don't know if he actually knew who I was, but he was gracious. And he said he did. And I said, listen, you play a lefty in the first round. I'm a lefty. If you're looking for a practice partner, I'm there for you. He said, that sounds great. So we set up practice for the next day. We go out to the court. And as we're walking to the court, he's carrying his racket bag. Everyone, all these fans are chasing after him. And I'm about 20 feet behind him. And people are kind of wondering, who is this guy with him? They couldn't figure out who I was because I was just a journeyman pro trying to find my way. They're all chasing after Roger. And we get on the court and we start warming up. And then we move into a practice set. And here are some of the leadership lessons that I learned from him on that day and how I put it together that for him to win Wimbledon by the time he was, 22 or 23 for the second time, for him to be able to step onto that practice court and teach me a lesson, he had to be doing a lot of things right leading up to that moment. Number one, the first thing is that composure is trained. What many people don't know, if they followed Roger Federer, who is very calm, cool, and collected on the tennis court, early in his career, he had a temper. He threw fits. In fact, I saw him practicing, or I should say competing, at the French Open when he was 19 years old. So if we go back about 4 years in time, I watched him play a match at the French Open, and he completely melted down. And when I saw the meltdown when he was 19, I thought to myself, this guy's never going to make it. 4 years later, we're on this practice court. Well, he made it. He won 2 Wimbledons by that time. And of course, the rest is history with all the slams that he won after that and all the years of playing number one. And he's an absolute tennis icon. But he made a decision between that match at the French Open and when I saw him that he was going to focus on his composure and he was going to train it. So if you tend to be reactive or when you make mistakes, you're hard on yourself and maybe you get angry and you show it externally to the world and to others, or maybe you internalize that anger, that frustration, and it impacts your performance, you can train your composure just like Roger Federer did and just like he decided to do. Lesson number 2, Roger Federer's preparation was second to none. He was prepared. And because he was prepared, he could adapt to every type of situation that came his way on a tennis court. Roger Federer would show up at pro tennis tournaments and practice, and people would think that he wasn't trying and he was a bit lackadaisical and he was really chill. But what he shared later on in his career is that the preparation happened on the practice court. So he would relentlessly and obsessively practice his skills before he even got to the tournaments. He felt so prepared that he could just relax when he showed up at these tournaments. So where everyone else was super stressed out, maybe even panicking at times, feeling the pressure, he could relax knowing that he was prepared. He did all of that behind the scenes when no one was watching. In the moments when the fans weren't there, it was just maybe his coach or another player, but hour after hour training and preparing his skills so that he could have that ability to adapt in the moment on the biggest stages. So it was preparation that was part of his secret weapon, and what the tennis greats and what the high performers and the top performers do better than everyone else. They are more prepared. And number 3, it's about the fundamentals. It's about those building blocks and those habits that you practice every single day. And to build on that preparation in lesson number 2, lesson number 3 is about honing in on the specific fundamentals that Federer was going to practice every single day, whether it was his forehand, his backhand, his serve, his footwork, his rest and recovery. He was known for how much he loved to sleep because he knew how important rest and recovery was to his training and to his focus and how he showed up in the biggest moments on the biggest stages. But all of that was laid down before he even got to the tournaments. When I was able to play this practice set against him, and I could feel the composure and the calmness, and I could feel the slice backhand, that slice backhand coming to me was all preparation and all fundamentals. He could bring his skill level to the court at such a level that I could feel it. And all of it was showing up on the court in that moment. But what people aren't seeing were the years and years of practice to be composed, to be prepared, and to practice the fundamentals. Now, the mistake that I made through all of this is I got to 100 in the world. Roger got to number 1. What's the difference? He was able to practice those leadership lessons, those skills at a more elite level than I did. He was able to practice how he could be emotionally composed and show up at his best, calm under pressure at a higher level than I did. He was able to practice the details at a higher level than I did, and he was able to practice his fundamentals at a deeper level as well. Now, again, attaining 100 getting to 100 in the world, playing in all the slams, it's a remarkable achievement. I'm very proud of it. But I always say that there are levels and there are levels and there are levels. And the tennis greats, they are able to ascend to that level that's beyond the mere mortals like you and I that we can actually attain. But we can still learn from them, and we can still apply these 3 leadership lessons into everything we do. And we can challenge ourselves to do it at a higher level than what we're doing. So you may never play at Wimbledon. You may never be number 1 in the world like Roger Federer. But you can walk into any room when the pressure is high, and you can practice those skills. You can practice being composed. You can commit to your preparation, and you can focus on your fundamentals. If this video resonated with you, feel free to subscribe if you haven't already, and ring the bell to get those reminders when we release more videos in the future to help you perform at your best under pressure.